Welcome, fair people of YouTube. Today I'm bringing you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th deck of the pre-built series we'll be getting very soon, because just in 3 days. 3 days till the patch. I'm so excited, guys. Anyway, this deck belongs to the Luna, the Shadowcraft, or the Necromancer, however you wanna call it. And the name of the deck is Dev's Puppeteer. So, without further ado, let's just see just how good is the Dev's Puppeteer deck. Again, we'll not be playing a game with it, even though it looks pretty decent, but yeah, it's just waste of time. We need consistency in the decks to win nowadays. Right, so let's see. Our Shadow deck, right? Well, as always, we get 10 basic cards, which are, you know, free. So basically we are paying only for 30 cards and a deck recipe. And the cards we are getting are Lurching Corpse, very good card. Ghost Heart Sexton, would not recommend playing it. Soul Squasher, one of the best cards. Undying Resentment is basic, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's basic. Zombie Party, a great card. Gourmet Emperor Kaiser, a great card, especially in the neutral age. Then we have Attendant of the Night, also very good card. Pact with the Nether God, very good card. Voices of Resentment, not really. I guess you can play that in meme decks and some Neptis decks, but I don't recommend it most of the times. Then we get Ortrus, card which died together with Prince Catacomb nerf. Then we have Prince Catacomb, which is a dead card after the nerf. Dev's Ledger, which is a very good card. And Goblin Princess, also very usable, especially in the neutral era. And then we have Gravewalker, which is basic and useless. Balor, which is a good substitute for some Neptis decks, while you are getting better ones. And Undead King, this is also basic card, also useless. Kawi, great card, must have in Neptis. Ektar, one of the broken cards of the game, definitely best tool that Shadow has right now. Immortal Tame, that goes very well together with Demon Lord Ektar. And Neptis, my favorite card. Neptis will be, of course, alter-arted. We'll paste it in the bottom right corner right now. And yeah, so let's see. Again, you are getting about 4,000 of dust, right? With all the legendaries, golds, 5 golds, 2 legendaries, some silvers, some bronzes. Let's see, how would you actually disenchant these cards? Or I would rather say Vial, because we are not playing Hearthstone right now. So if you want to Vial any of these cards, the only pick that I would say you can Vial immediately is Voices of Resentment. And that should be it, really. All these cards will be useful to you sooner or later. Well, maybe not Ghost Heart Sexton, you can also disenchant him. So that's only 4 bronzes that you don't need ever from this deck. That says really good things about this deck. So with that said, I think we can start crafting something from this deck, right? So basically, why do you buy this deck? You buy this deck to get Ektar, Neptis, and basically Tain, Ledger, Pact, and Soul Squasher, right? These are the cards you want. So Soul Squasher is used in both Neptis and Ektar decks. Pact is used in Neptis decks. Dev's Ledger is used in Neptis decks sometimes, but can also be used with Ektar if you go for the Dev's Ledger deck with Ektar, but then you don't play Neptis. Although you can, if you really want, you can combine all these cards. Balor is not really useful, but we'll use him in the early stages of building a Neptis deck. And then you have Tain, which is core in Ektar decks and really good in Neptis if you decide to play him. But generally you don't play him because you want your Kawi to be consistent. So yeah, because how you build Neptis is you basically include only followers of 4 different mana costs, right? So Neptis on 8, and then usually it's 8 mana Mordecai, 7 mana Kawi, 3 mana Attendant of the Night, and then very often you play either a lot of good 2-drops, which you don't care about getting from Neptis, but you want consistent early game, or you play no 2-drops and instead play 4-drops, which also generate leeches. So the Health Unleasher. What we'll do with this Neptis, we'll try to focus on using these cards we have already, because again, this series is meant for new players which are literally trying to start a craft by buying these pre-built decks, alright? So we'll start the craft with Nephthys. What we'll do first, we'll leave our 7 drops. We'll try to build something between Nephthys and Ektar, right? So we'll build it like that. We'll get rid of Undead King. We'll get rid of Gravewalker. We'll get rid of Goblin Princess. We don't want 4 drops. I mean 5 drops. We'll play only 4 drops. Actually, what do we want to play? Maybe we don't play 4 drops at all. Do we want to play Ledger? Ledger is pretty good, but I would say that we have to cut all the 4 drops. So we'll probably also cut Balor, but I really wanted to include him. Yeah, you know him out. I think we'll not add too many Mordecais for now. I think we'll play more of a tempo deck, which doesn't rely on Nephthys that much. We'll do that in further steps. We'll also cut Voices of Resentment. We'll substitute that with Better Removal. And we will cut the Sexton. We'll add something better. Alright, so now we cut 12 cards. That's a lot, but we have plenty of bronzes and silvers we want to put in. So yeah, first of all, we'll get another zombie party. Second of all, we'll get another Undying Resentment. Then we'll get additional Lurching Corpse. Then we want to get Hell's Unleashers to increase the chances of drawing a Leech from our Ledger and Nephthys. And then we probably want to cut Prince Catacomb because he's not really good. We probably want to cut Ortrus, and instead we'll play Necro Assassin. Yeah, that's not really smart searching because he will, the game will give me all the necromancy effects. We'll play Necro Assassin. How many of them? Probably, I would say 3 or 2. Yeah, let's play 2 to increase chances of drawing Hell's Unleasher. And then we want to include also... I don't want to put any golds in yet, alright? I just want to put in some silvers and bronzes. So... let me think, guys. We definitely need something on 5 and 6, right? If we play Balor on 6, we might as well play... how is he called? Spectral Soldier? No. Spectral Knight? No. Spectral something? No. How is it called? I will just look for mana cost. Yeah, I haven't cast it for a while and this card is not even used. Ghostly Rider, there we go. We'll play Ghostly Rider. Ghostly Rider is really good with Nephthys. We'll play only 2 copies, we don't want too many 6 drops. And then on 5 we'll be playing Dance of Death. Dance of Death is, I think, optimal. If you want, you can change Dance of Death for either... wait, another spell I cannot remember the name of. Yeah, because I like to do these videos on the run, not really, you know, not really prepare too much for them, because then you can see me my thought process, and it's not really me reading from a card or something, right? So Execution is one of the substitutes you can play, Call of Cocytus is another substitute you can play, and we also have the Necromancy spell Call of the Void. Call of the Void is also pretty good. I would say that we actually don't have a lot of Necromancy in the deck, we have just our Ektar and our Little Soul Squasher. So probably maybe instead of Dance of Death I would play... let's play 1 Dance of Death and 2 Call of the Voids. I actually like Call of the Void better than Dance of Death because this deck wins on the board, not on the face damage. So it's better to get a 2-2 zombie than literally attack with this zombie 1 to the face and then sacrifice it. Also, Call of the Void sets up pretty well with Ghostly Rider, so you can get that target for the minion, for the ward buff, right? Because Ghostly Rider has a ward and gives ward to a random allied follower when it dies. So, you know, he passes on his legacy. Alright, so we need 3 more cards. Let's look at our curve. We have pretty good curve, but what we really need is probably some more 2 drops. And what we have to pay attention to when we build this deck is that Death's Ledger will pull your pull your Necromancer followers, so your Shadowcraft followers. So cards like Little Soul Squasher should actually not be in the deck. But because we are not going full on with the Ledger Neptis yet, but more with a tempo, we'll keep a good card like Little Soul Squasher, right? It's definitely worth it. Alright, so with that, I think we could add... Let's actually see. We'll look for bronze and silvers. I kind of want to get some good neutral last words followers. Not sure if 5 drops though. Goblin Princess is not that good with Neptis. We could get, for example, one more Necro Assassin. That wouldn't hurt. That really wouldn't hurt. Let's play one more Necro Assassin. We will also play... These are not really the picks. Death Brand is another good removal we can play if we want to go more of a tempo. But if we want to go more, I mean more of the control, if we want to go more of a tempo, I think we should look into cards like maybe even the Necro Elementalist? Or Spy Toy Soldier? No, not really, we don't have a lot of Necromancy. So I would say... Rabbit Necromancer is also not a bad card here. But, or Skeleton Knight, or even Bone Chimera. Yeah, I think I like Bone Chimera the most. Where is Bone Chimera? There is Bone Chimera. We'll play Bone Chimera times 2. Alright, so that's how the deck would probably look, right? Again, you can see that we play some early game, with a lot of removal on early. Then on 3 drops we have mostly value minions. Then on 4 we have some combo, like Hell's Unleasher, Death's Ledger, Necro Assassin. You basically, your turn 3 sets up your Necro Assassin. This is the goal of the deck, most of the times, and that's how Midrange Shadow plays right now. Then we play Removal on 5. Your turn 5 will usually be one of the removal spells, or something like Necro Assassin or Death's Ledger. If you play 4 drop on 5, it's okay, guys, it's not the end of the world. And then on 6 we play some minions, not really meaningful, but they are both pretty good. And then we have Kawi. Oh wait, we lack one Kawi. We definitely have to increase our Kawi number. We will cut one... I would say one Gourmet Emperor. I think I like Bone Chimera a bit better than Gourmet Emperor. And we'll add one Kawi. Yes, and then Ektar and Neptis, you basically use them as your biggest value cards and cast them whenever. Neptis will not bring you any amazing results for now, and will sometimes burn your Demon Lord Ishtar, but if you get like Ghostly Rider of Balor, or Kawi, or Immortal Tain, or any of the Leech Generator, or even Lurching Corpse, you have a pretty good chance of getting something decent from Neptis. So yeah, it won't be 100% consistent, but it will definitely be something that you can at least semi-rely on, alright? And after Neptis, if your Ektar wasn't burned and you actually have him in the hand, you can go ahead and play that. Usually you will have a board after Neptis play. Alright, now our next step. So this is the deck. Let me show you again, guys. This is how we'll play it. And then on the next step, we want to add some golds. We will actually change this deck to fit more of a Death's Ledger style, alright? So we'll target the Death's Ledger as our go-to, alright? This will be our base of the deck for now. So we'll play 3 Death's Ledgers. We'll cut Necro Assassin, because again, if you play with Death's Ledger, all your cards below Death's Ledger should only be neutrals. Your only Shadowcraft cards should be the ones you want to get from your Death's Ledger. So we'll cut Necro Assassins, we'll replace them with Urd. The effect is very similar, but Death's Ledger cannot pull Urd from the deck, right? Then we'll cut... our turn 3 is really good like that, but I would actually feel much better if we cut Bone Chimera, because she's much less valuable than Attendant of the Night with Death's Ledger play. Then we have to cut our Soul Squasher, and we have to cut our Spartoid Sergeant. We'll keep the Lurching Corpse for now. Ideally you want to get rid of it, so your Death's Ledger pulls your Leech every single time. But for now we can keep it, I guess. Actually, you know what? I think we can get rid of it. We still need 2 drops, right? We'll play our Neptis on 2 drops. So we'll play cards like Lyrial, cards like Unica, and that should be generally enough. If you want more 2-drops, you can add Owlcat. This is, in my opinion, the second best card for the 2-drop neutral, alright? I don't really recommend you going with Feria and trying something cheeky like, you know, building Nephthys semi-neutral. I would rather just go for the better cards. And Owlcat kills a lot of Forestcraft followers, kills goblins, goblin leader, so it's definitely not a bad card right now. Also deals really well with current shadow build. So yeah, remember guys, if you watch this in the distant future, the meta changes in Shadowverse very quickly, so take this video as a relic of the past and something that was supposed to inform people back then and not in the future. Alright, so if we are getting really, well, really specific here, I kind of would like to get rid of our 6-drops, and I think we'll do that. We'll get rid of our 6-drops, we'll add more Owlcats, I guess. Do we add more Owlcats? Because guys, if you notice right now, our Nephthys is guaranteed to pull a 7-drop, a 4-drop, a 3-drop, and a 2-drop. These are our only mana costs, right? So with Nephthys, you are almost guaranteed the Kawi or Immortal Tain value, because they have last words. Sometimes you will pull Ektar, and that's unlucky. But hopefully you will have him in hand by then. Then, on 4-drops, you can pull either Urd or Hell's Unleasher. Probably you want Hell's Unleasher, right? But it's 50-50 most of the times, although it will be more often than not a bit less than 50-50, because Death's Ledger will pull some Hell's Unleasher from your deck sooner. Then on 3 you pull either Kai'Sa or Attendant of the Night. You want Attendant of the Night, but again Death's Ledger will literally thin out your Attendants from the deck. And then from 2-drop you pull something useful, I mean useless, right? One of the neutral cards. We play only neutrals on 2 because they cannot be pulled by Death's Ledger. So the goal of your deck is basically on turn 2 you want to play, if you are going first you want to have a minion, if you are going second you prefer the removal, Undying Resentment or Zombie Party. And then on 3 you want to drop your Gourmet Emperor Kai'Sa or Pact with the Nether God. On 4 you want to drop your Hell's Unleasher or Urd if you dropped the Attendant of the Night last turn. Or you want to just drop Death's Ledger. Then on 5 you want to play defensively, remove something, play another Death's Ledger, maybe Urd your Hell's Unleasher or something like that. Then on 6 you literally play with your 4-drops, 3-drops and 2-drops again, or with your 5-drops, right? Turn 5 and 6 are not really important for Nephthys. What's important is to play those turns defensively so you don't fall too much behind on the board. Then on 7 you ideally want to summon Immortal Tain or Demon Lord Ektar, or Kawi. I mean Kawi is fine, but you would rather get Kawi from Nephthys. And then on 8 you want to summon your Nephthys and get like Kawi, Hell's Unleasher, Attendant of the Night and a 2-drop. This will result in you getting a 5-5, 2 4/4s, and killing your opponent's strongest unit and healing for its attack value. So that's a big swing, right? For only 8 mana. But that requires you to build your deck around it, so it's not really OP. Because the deck is kind of unoptimal if you don't count Nephthys. Alright, with that we can add 3 more cards. I think we should add something a bit more useful. For example, let's look at, well, do we add legendaries already? I think we can wait with legendaries. No, let's add legendaries, alright? So you don't want to focus on Ektar, you want to focus on Nephthys. Wait, actually, yeah, that's right. You want to focus on Nephthys. So we'll add Nephthys times 3. Alright? This is a pretty big investment, but this is your next step. After adding all these golds, you want to have triple Nephthys. But first I would focus rather on the golds and make it a bit of, you know, more of a Ledger Ishtar deck with 1 Nephthys or something like that deck, instead of just rushing the Nephthyses, because Nephthys is a very specific build, and you will see why. Then guys, we go, I mean I don't have the full deck here, but I'm gonna leave it blank, alright? It's for your decision guys, you gotta check your collection and play something that is fitting. Just a word of caution, don't play any 5 and 6 drops, you want to play only in those 4 mana costs you are using with Nephthys, alright? Some might notice that there is no Mordecai in the deck. That's because Mordecai is a bit of the... Well, it adds another mana cost to the collection of this deck, which means we have to cut something else, and that's a pretty big investment. So it also makes the deck harder to play. So I would rather not do it right now. We'll do that in the last step. Speaking about last step, just take a last look at this deck. Alright, so now we'll do something that a lot of people will disagree with me on, but we are actually going to cut all the 2-drops. We'll not play a single 2-mana minions. Why, you ask? Because I believe that's actually correct. If we delete all our 2-drop minions, we definitely, actually I will show you guys 2 decks, alright? Because from now on, after the step of adding all the goals, of getting them, you can go with so many different directions. You can go full Neptis, you can go full Ledger, you can go full Ektar, you can go Neptis with Ledger, you can go Ektar with Ledger, you can also go Neptis with Ektar. So there is really a lot of combinations that you have to experiment with and find the best one fitting for you. I would recommend my build of Neptis. That's my favorite deck of Shadow, but lately I also play a lot with full Ektar build, with Sacrifice Shadow. I will also show you this deck, guys, because it's the current meta deck, and I want you to have some, some target to go for if you want to be playing on the meta and, getting good results. Alright, so we'll cut Ektar right now, and we'll cut Immortal Thane. We'll leave only Kawi as our 7-drop. This way, Neptis has guaranteed Kawi pool. After that, we will add Mordekais. We'll add 2 Mordekais. Generally, you play only 2 Mordekais because you don't really want to draw him. And yeah, he's not that necessary in the Neptis. I mean, of course, you want to pull him with Neptis every single time. That's why we cut 2 drops. But you don't need 3 Mordekais, alright? Because what Mordecai does is he permanently fills the spot on the board, which means Neptis summons on 1 less minion, right? So if you have 1 Mordecai, you summon only 3 minions, so you don't have that guarantee of summoning your Kawi, for example, which is probably the most important target from Neptis. Excuse me. Alright, then we'll add Pact with the Nether God. It's a great removal card. We'll play 3 off. It also fills your turn 7 when it's awkward to play your Kawi. Then we'll add another gold, which is Death's Breath. Oh wait, that's an apostrophe I missed. We'll add triple Death's Breath. This is your turn 6 play. It doesn't interfere with Neptis because it's a spell. It generates minion, but it's a spell, alright? So it's really good in Neptis. Then we also will play something that you would never expect, but this card is actually not bad. And I'm talking about Ghostly Grasp. We'll play actually double Ghostly Grasp. You can even play triple. It's actually pretty good to play triple Ghostly Grasp. Because what does it do is it targets cards with 1 HP, so generally those after trades. Let's imagine that you summoned your Lich, your opponent answered with Evolving Grimnir over your Lich. You can just Ghostly Grasp it, kill it for 1 mana, like Angelic Snipe. But look at our shadow generation. Death's Ledger gives you 1 shadow for itself after it expires, 2 shadow for the unit it summons and kills, and then 2 shadows for the units that stick on the board after you get your Liches, right? So every Death's Ledger is 5 shadow. Every Neptis is also 4 shadow, plus 4 minions on the board, right? I mean, if you got lucky. I mean 3 minions on the board, right? You don't resurrect Kawi, you resurrect 2 Liches and Mordecai. Mordecai generates tons of shadows. Our only real necromancy is Death's Breath, which basically says... it basically says that it costs 6 shadows, but then generates you 4 shadows back. So you have to have 6 shadows, and you will usually have those 6 shadows, but you actually will use only 2 shadows on this spell. So that's pretty low necromancy effect. Call of the Void at this point probably should be swapped for another Dance of Death. If you prefer Execution over Dance of Death, you can play that. My favorite pick is Dance of Death. So yeah, but another options are again Execution and the Void, Call of the Void. No, that's this spell. Abyss. No. I forgot it again. The spell that generates a Servant of Darkness. Call of the Cocytus, there we go. So yeah, I was close. That was Call of the Void, but Cocytus. Yeah, so this is also an option, but I would recommend Dance of Death, because sometimes you will have troubles with finishing the games. Usually you want to, yeah, do that. Well, everybody wants to finish the games, right? Alright, anyway, with this change of cutting our Call of the Void, you have even more shadows to play with. So I would actually recommend Triple Ghost Regrasp, because that's the reason, right? It's a really expensive necromancy, but for 1 mana you can destroy any minion. So that's kind of insane, right? Then Gourmet Emperor Kaiser, we could cut it. We actually could, and I think we will. Well, Carrot is pretty good, but it's not optimal, alright? And I don't really remember which card I also need in this deck, because I had a specific build in my mind, right? But now I kind of got it out of my head, so I think that we will get... I thought something about 3 mana removal, like Deathbrand, but maybe we could get 2 mana spell, like something like Trail of Light or similar cards. We definitely cannot play 2-drops, right? We could play Angelic Snipe, but that's not really good. We could play Keen Enchantment, but that's also not really optimal. We could play... We don't want to play Amulets, because we want to have 4 spots on the board for Neptis. We don't want to play any 3-drop followers. I mean, we could, actually. So... Oh, I know what we wanna play. How could I miss that? Oh, because I have neutral cards checked. That's why I missed that. We are playing Full Tempest, 2 copies. Yeah, that's what I was missing. Full Tempest is a really efficient clear. 3 mana, 6 shadows to deal 3 damage to everything. That's really good. And yeah, that will be the deck. As you can see, our curve is rising and then rising again. I really like this curve. It's not really optimal, but it has very strong mid-range game, right? With 3 drops removal and with 4 drop leeches like Urt plays, House Unleasher plays, and Death's Ledger plays. So that's the Neptis build. It's Neptis Ledger deck, so this deck is really, how do you say that, constricted about what you can play in the deck. You can play only 4 types of mana cost, and you can play only Shadowcraft followers with Last Words. So literally the only follower that doesn't get pulled by Ledger but gets pulled by Neptis is Urd. And if you are not fine with Urd, you can cut it, but there is really little of substitution. I mean, you probably could play Phantom Howl. Actually, we will play Phantom Howl, alright? We'll play 1 Phantom Howl. Because Phantom Howl is actually a really flexible removal spell. Right? You get 5 damage to distribute however you like for only 4 mana. That's really good. This video is actually really long, but bear with me, guys, because we are almost done here. This will be the Neptis deck, alright? Once again, I will show you in the preview. That's how Neptis will look. A lot of removal, a lot of Last Words, a lot of control, and great healing from Kawi. This deck is purely a control deck. You probably will not have much success with it in the current meta, but you can definitely beat decks like Heaven with it, or even Dragon. Definitely Dragon is a great matchup for this deck. And let's say that Abyss should be problematic, but you can deal with it. You definitely can. You have a lot of answers to Toph, to Alice, and to, well, later Abyss. Alright, with that said, let's quickly just show you the Meta Ektar deck. This is how the deck looks. As you can see, it plays Ektar, and this is our only win condition. Our plays are Cerberus, because it's a great card, Tain, because it's a great card, Necro Assassin and Urt in total of 5 copies to proc our Attendant of the Night, our Bone Chimera, our Lurching Corpse, and also our Skull Beast if you need. We also play Soul Conversion and Demon Eater to proc these cards and throw cards. We also play Soul Squasher. We got one of these in pre-build decks, because Soul Squasher is crazy insane card. Just for 4 shadows and no stat loss, you actually deal with a Evolved Follower. That's kind of insane. And then we play Usher of Sticks because your most expensive follower in the deck is Ektar, and I guess Immortal Tain. And getting any of this from your Usher of Sticks is actually really good, but you want to generally get Ektar. It's also a 2-mana 2-2, right? The card that every deck needs. 2-mana 2-2 is there is probably no deck except for my Neptis build without 2-mana 2-2. Maybe some Dragon builds with Hyper Ramp. But generally every tempo, mid-range, aggro, or most of the combo decks play 2-mana 2-2 of some kind. Only Controls kind of miss that, because they play removals on this spot. So this is the build, guys. You can find it out on my stream. If you ask on my stream about any of the decks, I will quickly show you how the deck looks. And yeah, let's fit into 30 minutes with this video. We are just over 30 minutes, so with that said, guys, peace out. Let the Neptis be with you.